Welcome everyone back to the Alpha Capital YouTube channel. Nearly said something else there. Nearly said words of wisdom, but I am Words of Wisdom. I'm your host, and we're here for another Trader podcast. And we have the one, the only, Mr. Husmulli himself. Man, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, man, nice to meet you.
No, it's my pleasure, man. I know we got to do a mini, podcast at the event, which we'll go into in a minute. I want to go straight into this in terms of your background, your journey. We just keep it brief, but like how you got into trading, why trading, what was it about trading that really was the thing that you've stayed at and stuck to, and what that journey looked like as well, like from the beginning to getting to where you are today.
Yeah, so I started, I was at uni, and my first few years at uni, I was just messing around. I was waking up like 6 p.m, going out again, coming back. It was just crazy, yeah. And so I wasn't locked in. And then my actual blessing was COVID, because COVID came and it was the first time I got to just be by myself properly and just think about like what I need to do. And then I just took a deep dive into how to make money online, like most people do. But I didn't actually find trading Forex first. I was getting into crypto, but then I became so obsessed with this because I was just in my room all day, and I became so obsessed with it. I was deep in Telegram chats. I was reading for all these crypto coins, small cap coins. I wasn't just like people do. They just put them in random ones. Yeah. I was reading the white papers, reading the blueprints. I would try and join the AMA asking sessions and ask them questions about and just to understand, is this team actually going to be able to push this token or coin enough? And then I lost my first thing I put in. I put like I was like £50 or something. It went to 8k, and then it went and then I didn't take any money out, and then it went back down to zero. And I had like at this point I had like minus 1,400 in my bank account. So I don't know why I didn't take profit. Now I'm thinking about it, but is what it is. It gave me a lesson that I should take profit next time. And then I found another opportunity that came. Because I was, as you know, like if you put yourself in this situation again and again, these opportunities come, and it's just the luck is your timing. And I just surrounded myself in the part that I'm going to get this timing. And then I invested in like a miner. So like it was a BNB miner. And then
BNB, the Binance coin.
Yeah, Binance coin, yeah. So that became one of the biggest miners on the whole chain at that time. And I was early on that. So I made some good money from that.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then I used that to invest in other ones. Like one's a chain link I bought at like $3-4, rode up to like 30. Made some money off that as well. And then that gave me a good foundation to go into Forex, because I'm not desperate for money at this point now, because I have made some money, which is then I got into trading, and I was like, okay, I want to do this, but
did you always know that was there and you were just waiting?
For Forex?
Yeah.
No, because what my thing was I was fed up of relying on other people in crypto relying on their coin, on their pushing it, on their team. I was finding a way, like, how can I love this space, but how can I find a way that I can make money if it goes up or if it goes down. Yeah. Anyway, so then found out about Forex trading. And my emotions were better because I understood that take the profit, don't try and hold 1 to 50R. It's not going to work. Then developed into trading, found a guy that streams called Donvo, which is my
DVS.
Yeah, DVS. Yeah. So
DVS sounds like it's like a UK rapper's name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'm sure there was a rapper called DVS. Yeah.
But learned from live streams and developed my own thing, and then started going into prop firms and stuff like that.
Incredible. Did you have any period during the FX stage where you weren't performing too good?
Yeah, so my whole first year of when I transitioned from crypto to FX, the whole first year I was not profitable. I wouldn't say I was losing so much money, but I was just not profitable. Like
was it a case where you knew you were learning though? Like you knew, like, I'm gonna get this. I'm just going through that transitional period. It wasn't a case where you were losing and you were like, F this, I'll just stick to crypto.
Yeah, nah, there wasn't really a point where I was like that. I was just going for it, and then I was just learning each bit by like, I'll take an L and I'll journal it, and then I'll be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't take it when, did that candle really close above the zone? Zoom out, it didn't. Be a bit self-accountable, and then got better each time. And then after a year, that's when I started making some money from actual profits from Forex.
What would you say then, like in that year, I know journaling's a big thing for you. I remember
Yeah.
when we spoke at the event, that was the key sort of thing that we kept going back to. But during that year, what was it? Was it the journaling, or was there anything else that stood out to you of like, okay, these key things really, when I focused on those or made those tweaks or made those changes or even, learned about them, made the difference, to then that consistency?
Yeah. So the journaling allows you to, it facilitates you to be able to find where to become better. But where I became better was being, one is self-accountable based on my actions, based on how did I mark up the zone. I know how to mark up the zones. I've done it so many times. I've done it back test, I know whatever. Did I mark it on lower on purpose because I just wanted the candle to close above, and just finding a way, moving the zone down so it closes above when it didn't really close above the actual zone that I need to mark out. So things like that, just being self-accountable, higher time frames as well. That's what I learned to like, you can go on the lower time frames all you want, but to get a higher win rate, you're going to have to look at the higher time frame direction, and that's how you're going to get caught in less fake outs and things like that.
So even, do you trade lower time frames?
So I don't really trade lowest, or I don't really trade low time frames. I trade I do my analysis from daily all the way to like 30-minute, and then I usually trade on like the 30-minute, or sometimes I get 5-minute entry if there's a really lot of volume and I feel like I can catch it before it makes that move. Then I'll drop down. But yeah, usually 30-minute time frame.
Okay, but even on that 30-minute, it's helpful to have the higher time frame analysis.
Yeah, always. I can't not do it without looking at the higher time frame first and then go down.
What is your experience like? A lot of the time when I do podcasts, I always say like all traders or most traders or majority of traders, just because that's what I see on like social media. So when I say that, like I'll say a statement like majority of traders are using prop firms. The only reason I say that is because the majority of traders I see online are using prop firms, but it might not be true.
Yeah.
What leads me to my question is like, do you find like when you look at social media or from the traders etc., do you find that most of them are scalping or like lower time frames?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say most of them are, I don't know about scalping. Not most of them are scalping. I think most of them are like day trading, like 15-minute time frame, things like that. I wouldn't. I know obviously a few that are swing trading, like Euro Trader, people like that. But most of them day trading, I'd say, in prop firms. I think swing trading is good, but some props accounts aren't facilitated. Facilitated for the swing trading. But
Alpha just dropped an Alpha swing account. Yeah,
exactly.
Easy plug there. They should be proud of me for that. But what was I going to say to you about that? The reason I asked that though was more so, do you find like a lot of these people who are using lower time frames, even if they're day trading, but they're using lower time frames for their entries, etc., do you find that when you speak to traders, especially the ones who aren't finding that profitability yet, a lot of the time they're just missing that higher time frame analysis and they're just too focused on that lower time frame? Yeah,
because the lower time frame is good to get entries, but if you want the direction and you want to not get faked out, you got to look at the higher time frame, because the higher time frame is more stability. In the price action is an auction between buyers and sellers, and the higher time frame of the auction you're looking at, the more stable that data point, that candle is. The 4-hour candle is more stable. There's more data in that 4-hour candle than there is in that 5-minute candle. So you're going to be able to see more like of the direction of the trend from that 4-hour candle than you are from the 5-minute candle, because 5-minute candle might close bullish and next one just comes shooting down bearish. In the 4-hour you don't see that often, that a big bullish candle and then the massive red, unless it's news or something, that massive bearish, and then all of a sudden change direction. You'll see it gradually change direction.
Definitely. And I think obviously as well with the higher time frame areas, so if a higher time frame liquidity sweep's taken, or like a support resistance or a key level, or a whatever you want it, on a higher time frame, once that's been met, that's usually when the lower time frames then move. Versus when you ignore that, it can look like the lower time frame is about to reverse, about to make its move, when in reality it's just still trying to get to that higher time frame area. And as you say, like the fake outs, taking unnecessary losses. I see that so often, so many. I was that person. I was that person at one point. But yeah, hopefully, people can really put a focus on that higher time frame. When we did the event, it was great that was the first time I actually officially met you, which was great. I know we had spoken for a good period before that as well. We kept missing each other. But at the event, like, what was the event like for you? I know a lot of traders. I know you quite well networked. Quite a decent number of traders. But like in a setting like that, when you've got almost 200 people in a room, what was that like? What was the event like for you?
No, it was good. Yeah. Obviously, one of my good friends, Riz Sardar, he invited me over as well. And yeah, I think it was good. It was like, like-minded people, everyone, regardless of what stage people are. Some people obviously beginning for trading, but it's good everyone's there to, to get a level up. And no matter what stage you are, like, even if you're like an experienced trader, like, the some of the people that we know, everyone's still trying to level up. So there's always things you can learn. And the people that were speaking, like Riz, for example, are people that are where you want to be, right? And then you just learn from them. And I think it was good for value.
How important was it for you, like in that year that you were learning? Obviously, you came across Donvo. You were in that community. Was it helpful to sort of be able to speak to other traders? Did you ever use that as accountability or advice or tips or anything like that? Or were you someone who, well, yes, you're in the community, you're learning concepts, but you're better off on your own?
Yeah, I would say the latter, because the thing is, people get so caught up about community. What does this guy think about my chart? What does this guy think about chart? And there's people like giving you advice and they're not profitable. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, you're giving profitable advice to me. I remember thinking about this, like, some people it's any community, big community, he's giving me profitable advice and he's got no payouts. So I'm just like, you haven't done it, so how are you giving me advice on how to get a payout when you haven't got a payout? So that's why I use the community to, like, there were some people that like were good, they were on the same level, where it's more like they were just friends. But to level up, really, I would just lock in myself, because I'm the only one that's going to make it click in my brain. No one can help me in terms of that. I prefer to learn from my own mistakes. I just think that's the best way to learn, just me personally. Yeah.
Do you think sometimes people use communities, mentors and so on as like a crutch, and therefore they don't end up doing the deep work because they just start relying on those other people?
I think 100%. Yeah, man. People think too much, and then they go in and they get caught up about community. None of you are profitable, so why are you all just arguing with each other about this chart? No, I think, like, there's some people that I'll post analysis on Instagram. Some random guy will DM me saying
You're wrong.
I think gold's going down. Like, all right, mate, I didn't ask. Like, you're just telling me gold. All right, keep that to yourself and then trade. And let's see who, like, out of 100 trades, who's profitable.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point.
Because the funny thing is, like, let's say you take a loss on that, right? They'll DM you like, I told you.
Yeah, I told you.
And it's like, okay, what now?
And then he's saying he's funded and he's not funded. So, like, you know what I mean? Like,
what is your mindset though, like in terms of consistent payouts, consistently for a long period of time as well? But I was on your live, like, very briefly yesterday, and you were talking about it. You were saying how, like, you haven't rushed to buy all this crazy stuff and elevate your lifestyle in such a crazy way. You mentioned that you like to travel.
Yeah.
But like, what's the choice behind that? Because a lot of people, when they get money or consistent money, especially from trading, they will start really blowing that. Was that anything that you did in the very beginning? Or was that something you always sort of had a plan for?
Yeah, I think I have to owe that one to my dad, because my dad, when he came to the country, we actually I slept on an aero bed, and my dad and my mum, no, I slept on the bed. There was one bed for me, and my dad and my mum slept on an aero bed because didn't have that much money. So seeing that humble beginnings from my father made me not take things for granted, and I've seen him build his way up now, and now he's quite, like, established, like,
that's good
as a person. But seeing how he provides for the family, that's what my goal is. My goal is not to make money and be here today and gone tomorrow. I understand that once you have a family, you probably know this, once you have a family, the overheads start getting, you know what I mean? So I know that, and I'm, preparing for that. I'm preparing for longevity things. Me buying a designer jacket, like, yes, I've treated myself here and there. Okay, it's cool. But when people get so obsessed, you know what I mean? Like, they just get so, I've got money now, let me just do that. That's not it. I prefer spending on experiences rather than materials. Although here and there, like, I'm going to get a watch soon, things like that. It's just because I only do it as a milestone.
Yeah.
I got a car. I just got a car recently. I got it as a milestone. I got a watch. I will get a watch as a milestone, not just a flex randomly, like, just for no reason when I haven't deserve it. And all of a sudden you make 6 figures, you're back to 5K again or something like that. It's not ideal.
Do you feel like social media sort of plays into that a bit? Because I felt it myself personally, and even though I've been in the game for so long, I'm so much older, I've got all this responsibility, I nearly fell into the trap myself. But it's like, what relics or what the image of success looks like can trick you into believing that that's what you need to do in order to be successful, even if it's not you, right? So for me, for example, I was looking at Lamborghinis. I don't even
Yeah.
like cars, right? I'm not even into cars. I don't think I could even fit into a Lamborghini comfortably, you know. But I was still looking at it because I was like, yeah, that's what people respect that, you know, and that's what people show as, especially in trading, like as successful. So I was looking at it, and then I was looking at it for a good few weeks. I was asking some friends of mine who could get connects to get one, etc. And then I don't know what happened. I remember I just was sitting there. I think I read, it was part of a book, I think. What book was it? It was, I can't remember the name of it. But it was like literally the first page. I just remember I sat there after weeks of thinking about it, opened the first page, and it literally said something along the lines of to do with like spending your money, in terms of if you spend money on things that you don't care about or you can't afford, or you know, don't matter to you, you're just wasting your time. Essentially, I'm literally butchering the quote, but that's along those lines. And I remember sitting there thinking, that's exactly what I'm about to do or thinking of doing. And it makes no sense because I'm not even into cars like that. But yeah, I was doing it because of this image I thought I needed to create. And I feel like a lot of traders do that, you know, thankfully not yourself, but like, I think a lot of traders do feel this pressure maybe of like, okay, now I've got this money, or I'm getting consistent, or I'm a trader now, I need to look a certain way, or I need to be a certain way. Do you ever see that? Do you see that around?
I see that all the time, but I tend not to be close with people like that because I don't know. I'm a pretty good judge of character and things like that. And I've noticed the people that do that, there are people that kind of like literally. There's people that are really clear and they just can get it. Like that's different. But they've done the right things first. And just like priorities, like I've seen people spend money. I've seen people make some money, crypto trading, whatever, then start spending it on like random girls, random things, all that, and then they're not even looking after their own mum, like things like that. Like you got priorities at the end of the day. You're gonna have a family. Why don't you prep for that? Why don't you, you know, look after your own parents, treat them, take them out to nice restaurants. Who cares? Right? You rather take them out than go and buy Gucci jacket that no one. You think people care about it? No one actually cares about it. Like no one really cares. Like they'll walk past. I don't know where this is from, River Island. Like it's the same thing, bro. Like as I know, my bank account's the good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like they say. It's I think there's a quote where it's like, I'd rather spend, you know, I'd rather spend like £50 on a bag and have £5 in it than spend £5 in a bag and have £50 in it. You know,
100%.
In terms of trading though, wise risk. Talk to me about risk. Like, what are your sort of thoughts around risk? Are you someone who uses fixed? Are you someone who's a bit more dynamic? Are you a high risk trader, low risk trader?
I don't risk that much. I won't say I'm low risk. I'm just like I risk like 1 to 2%. That's all I risk, and I risk to do that through everything. And on live accounts, I just get 2 to 3%, get the payout 2 to 3. That's how I stayed so consistent for a while now. I do that, and on my personal account, what I'll do is I'll do a fixed risk in terms of not lots or anything, because my stop loss size will be different. If you just pop a 20 lot all the time, ones if your stop loss size is bigger, that candle, like, you know what I mean, where the structure might be a bit lower, then you're going to lose more than what you've lost in the last 2 times you lost. So
do you see a lot of people doing that?
Yeah, people do that sometimes, but I think it's a dangerous habit, because like say you go on gold and your structure might be 30 pips one day, stop, and then the next day you might put your stop on a 60, 70 pip. Now you just doubled your risk, but you don't know because you think you're popping the same lot sizes. That's not how it works. But yeah, it all depends. Some people have fixed stop losses, and then you can do that, I guess. But yeah, I just risk on personal. I'll risk like 1K per trade, and I'll just stick it to 1K. No matter what I know I'm losing, psychology helps me. I'm losing 1K. I'm comfortable with losing 1K. I'm comfortable winning 2K on the trade. That's it.
In terms of that, like in terms of a personal account as well, I see a lot of people, you know, who are a bit fearful because of the things that have happened in the space within the last 12 months. And some people have sort of like not losing faith, but they're a bit confused of what to do next, right? But as someone who's trading personal and props, does trading the personal sort of help the mindset a bit of like not worrying?
Yeah, it does. And another thing about props I believe props are here to stay no matter what. Regardless, they'll find a way to stay because it's just too big now, and that market is always going to be there now because they've already broke into that technology, I guess. Yeah, personal helps me because it still helps me think professionally, and remember that this whole money is real as well, because like on a funded account you might lose 1K, it's not your 1K, but on a personal account if I lose 1K, that's my 1K. You can book a flight for that, I guess. That's still money, so it keeps me focused, and it allows me to build, like for the personal account, I can build it up over time. With prop firms, I just do it for payouts.
Yeah.
And,
Is that one thing you do with payouts? Is you withdraw, allocate some to personal, and so on?
Yeah, usually what I do is when I do personal, I'll put a set amount and then I'll just trade it. So payouts, I don't really always fuel it into the personal, but I fuel some into my bank, some into funds, some for taxes, some for traveling because I like to travel. And that's
What is it traveling does for you?
just opens your mind, man. You know what I mean? Like it just makes you, because when you're stuck in one place, you get the small town mindset. Like you don't see what's out there, and you're traveling also makes you realize that it's more than just material things. Like I'm enjoying myself more on a jet ski in a different holiday than I am when I'm sitting and just looking at some material. So yeah, it just opens my mind more. Experiences at the end of the day, that's what you can take with you. You can't take the money with you, really.
And what about in terms of like your top 3 tips for your trading success? Not even tips, but what has been the 3 things for you that has allowed you to be a successful trader, whether it's related to trading or not, even if it's not related to trading?
Yeah.
But it's really something that you stand on. It's like part of that foundation. Is there anything there?
Yeah, number 1 is be grateful. So I have the first thing on my list, on my checklist, it says be grateful, and it says it every single day of the week. Because when I wake up, first thing I do is I be grateful. I thank God for even waking me up. There's a lot of we tend to chase. I say, don't be complacent, but be grateful, because like we've been blessed to even be able to have healthy body, healthy mind, a roof above your head. Once you're grateful for those things, the bare minimum for some people, but for other people it's the whole world. So being grateful for that just puts me in just a good mindset. Now, if I take a loss in trading, what the hell does that matter? Like a loss on a digital screen with a number, it's not gonna. I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful for being today, having a bed, having water to drink. That is, how it keeps me in a good mindset for the whole day. And my good day can only be good from that point on. No matter what happens, I'm already, I'm already happy. So that's number 1. Number 2 is self-accountability. You have to be self-accountable. Like if you ever, I say this all the time, even if you say you're in sales, for example, and if you're trying to sell someone, if they don't buy it, don't just, okay, next one. But you think, was there anything I could have done better? You probably done this with your pods when you first started, like, seeing, I could have probably said that better. I could have spoke that bit better. And that's just how you become better, self-accountability. And the last one is going to be get numerical data. Like I mentioned before, because numbers don't lie. If you actually track everything properly to the numbers, with the numbers that are the win rate, the where did it go, what range did you get, and all these things, what time, these things are going to give you objective data, not subjective. It's subjective. You could think I'm mentally journaling, but it's all subjective in your brain on how you felt that day. If it's all on the numbers, it's not going to lie, and that's going to tell you how to get level up.
I love that. In terms of leveling up, though, actually, just the perfect word. In terms of leveling up, what was your journey like of scaling? Like, what was that journey like going into the FX, even the crypto side? Like, as you mentioned, you had that 8K, went back. How did you handle the increase in numbers, increase in risk, increase in profit sizes, capital that you're trading? Was it a scaling process, or were you someone who was quite able to handle quite naturally those increasing numbers?
It's a gradual process. I think people should stop trying to rush the process, because what happened is, like, I started on like 20K funded accounts. For me then 100K is too much, because seeing 100K, I would close my trade early or something. So I started on 20s, then I went to 50s, then I went to 100, and that's how I scaled with the numbers. I had a rocky start. I was with the firm in the beginning, passed an account, made some payouts, then I got to my bigger account, my first bigger account, and then they shut down. And then another one with another firm had some payouts as well. I've always been positive on the R in terms of what I've spent, always. But, still shutting down on me. That one went as well. Then I had to back to zero again, from 6 figures funding back to zero. Had to do it again. So right now, like at 500K. So yeah, we just slowly, gradually. To me, it's enough to live a decent life, but for me, I'm never complacent. So our goal is to get a mill and then go.
The reason I asked you that, though, is more so because I think people have such a massive misconception. It's like, I need to be 7 figures funded when they've not even crack 200k, right? Because even 200k with a good percentage is good enough to supplement your income or even replace your income, right?
Definitely.
It all depends on circumstances, but even for the people who live in London, let's say, right? London expenses maybe 4k a month, 5k a month, right? On the high bit, not the highest end, but higher end, responsibilities and so on. If you're paying everything, if you got a 200k account or maybe even to 400k account, decent return, you could be covering that expense, right? I'm not saying that you quit your job, but you cover that expense. And I think that I always see people, they always they've not been funded yet, 200k or 400k yet, and they're like, by the end of the year, my goal is 7 figures in funding. And I get it, like as you said, not being complacent, but I just feel like they set themselves up for failure because of the pressure and the all this weight they put on themselves, especially when they start to go after it and they haven't scaled, they haven't really built that muscle yet, if you will.
That muscle,
and then they're failing the challenges because of that. And then it gets even more and more and more as time goes on because they're just getting closer to this goal that they've set. And it's not bad to have goals. I'm the first person to say have goals, but I just think it's a dangerous mindset.
I think they should focus on consistency. Forget about how much funded. I know people that are on 200-300k funded, they've got more payouts than people that go up to 600-700k and then go back to zero and then go back to up to 800k. Because do you know how much effort that is going from phase 1, phase 2 again, back, or from 800k back to zero, back to 500? That's just not consistent. If anything happens, if prop firms start getting stricter with the rules, you're all cooked. If you don't if you're not consistent. For me, I say to people, don't even go, like some people say go aggressive on challenges. I say don't go aggressive on challenges if you haven't even made at least 5 payouts from one account to show that, okay, if I can pass it, I'll make up for the being aggressive because I'll make the money back. But you don't know that because none of you guys have got the payouts to show and be like, okay, I know I can make that. But you're just going aggressive and losing it all and then you're just having that pit is just, I know some people in that pit. And
where do you think that comes from? Do you think that's a social media thing too? Or do you think it's just greed and rushing?
I think a lot of people, they don't do it right. They put pressure on themselves. Like even say if people are working a job, but that's fine. Save your money if you can from the job. Build a buffer. That buffer will help you because your mindset won't be desperation when you're doing the challenges. It's just like, okay, I'm doing a challenge. Let's see what happens. And you just stick to the plan. And then that's how you actually get funded and get consistent payouts. That's the thing.
One thing you mentioned there, and we'll finish on that point, and I think it's a very important one in terms of rules, things getting stricter, things getting changing, and changes that we're seeing in the industry, because it is happening. I even see other firms where they're sending risk protocols during the challenge stages. Right, it happened to a friend of mine, which is not a bad thing. It's just and they didn't even do a 4% risk. They did 2.5%, I think, and yet they still got that email, which is interesting. What are your thoughts? Because I know there's again a lot of people will point fingers at firms saying, "Oh, you're making it harder for the trader." While equally the firms will say this is the data that we're trying to collect, and this is what we want in terms of our, for longevity and for good foundation for our traders too. So it's back and forth in that way. But I know a lot of traders are getting fearful of I can't handle these rules. I don't want to. I want to be able to risk more and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts as a trader yourself?
I think for challenges, I think it should be like it is, right now. I think it's fine. I think for the lives, I wouldn't even mind if they made some risk rule, maybe 2% max. Because why, if you're actually on the live account, then okay, that's fine. I wouldn't mind. I don't risk more than that anyway, so it wouldn't faze me. But yeah, I think it's a happy medium where challenges, because it's a challenge at the end of the day. Keep it as it is.
It's more like the time thing, isn't it? It's you don't want it to be harder because the longer it might take.
Yeah, the longer it might, because there's something called time efficiency as well.
Yeah, definitely. And would you say though that having the data helps you to have more of a peace of mind and not sort of panic or feel all this fear and stuff we see in the industry? On social media we see all these different emotions coming out of people. Do you find having your data and knowing your edge really just eliminates all that for you?
Yeah, especially on the live account. I could go in drawdown and I'm telling you, some people say to me how do you not care? I just don't care, mate. I'll just trade it the same. I'll get out of it. I know I've got out so many times. I've built that muscle in my head that, I'll tell people as well, if they go in drawdown and they get out of drawdown and make a payout, you've that skill right there of you going out from drawdown to making a payout. That's the best skill ever in trading. Now that you can handle everything. If you could build that muscle from that, you're chilling. So yeah.
Amazing. Husmulli, I know we could have kept going, but we got another incredible video to record with you, so we're going to get that out there. But everyone home. Links for Husmulli will be in the description below. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway from this episode. There were loads of gems to take away. There'll be other episodes on screen. And hit subscribe. And until next time, take care.